Who is that girl I see? No, seriously. What's up, YouTube? This is Red Devilosa. Mulan was released last Friday on Disney Plus for $30. Before I start the review, I'm going to be honest. I was looking forward to this movie. I believe that the only Disney movies that can actually be made into live action are Mulan, Pocahontas, and this might be a bit of a stretch, Tangled. Mulan is a story that is set during a time of war, which also includes elements of family, love, and comedy. Even when they said the songs won't be in the movie, along with Mushu or Kriki and the ancient spirits, I still didn't really have too much of an issue with it. Although, the removal of Li Shang made no sense, and I'll come back to that. I love the music in the animated movie, but a strong soundtrack can work around that. Taking out Mushu and Kriki is an opportunity of making it realistic and developing Mulan and her relationship between her family and the Imperial Army. You know, something that a good writer can focus on with character. Also, you could take more elements from the Ballad of Hua Mulan from the 4th 6th century, but unfortunately good ideas doesn't work for Disney. This movie is not good. Not good at all.
Alright, that's it. Dishonor. Dishonor on your whole family. Make a note of this. Dishonor on you. Dishonor on your cow.
There are 4 writers for this one film. And as a point of reference, Captain Marvel had 3 writers with 5 people who pitched the story. I'm going to spoil the movie. It treads through similar beats of the animated movie from 1998, but I urge you to hear my thoughts rather than waste your money on this shit. Also, after the recent news, just avoid the film altogether. I watched it prior to knowing the news, and I would have definitely avoided it if I had known before. Right off the bat, like in every Disney movie since around 2015, we see Mulan as a child and she's flipping around the air like she's in the Matrix. And we are told that the reason why she is so athletically gifted is because she is filled with chi. I think of this line.
That's not how the Force works.
What a middle finger to the fans. You turn Mulan into a superhero, also known as Mary Sue. Oh, and don't worry, her adult counterpart doesn't get any better. The matchmaker scene goes through pretty much the same beats, except Mulan has a forgettable sister who is afraid of spiders, and could have been written out of the film completely. Because her sister, whose name I don't remember, has a fear of spiders, Mulan is able to catch all the cups and teapot because of her chi, until she drops it. The matchmaker was aware of Mulan trying to remove the spider, yet she still says the same line in how Mulan was not fit for being a wife. In the animated movie, the matchmaker was not aware of Mulan trying to remove Kriki, and just assumed that Mulan was just a clumsy buffoon. The effect just doesn't hit the same way. The Huns. I'm sorry, the morons. Or was it Rorons? Morons sounds about right. I'm going to call the villain Discount Shan Yu, because he looks like the character, but he had a different name, and he was pretty much a beta villain, as they added a witch in the movie. It was supposed to be the replacement to the pet falcon that Shan Yu had in the animated film. She would turn into a falcon from time to time. She pretty much has the powers of Mystique in X-Men, so more of that superhero shit in the 5th century.
Wonderful.
The point of removing Mushu and Kriki was to be realistic, but I suppose your chi allowing you to run on walls, or being a witch is realistic. This causes the emperor to send a conscription decree for 1 man in each family of the village to fight in the war. There are a few additions in the movie that I actually liked, and I wish it would have went more in that direction. You have a moment in which Mulan is watching her dad trying to swing his sword, but his old age and crippled leg causes a lot of hindrance. Mulan goes to him and they just talk. He was telling her about being courageous during fear. When she says she wishes that she was a son, he tells her that he would not change anything about his life. The problem that comes after is that she just goes straight to the ancestors and is dressed up and goes straight ahead. In the animated movie, I love the fact that she was watching her mother being upset about the whole situation, and Mulan, after contemplating, there's a montage in which she goes to the ancestors and she cuts her hair, solidifying her choice. And I like that better because it gave us more insight into Mulan's personal struggles. So all the phoenix symbolism that was littered into the movie so far is actually for an actual phoenix that exists in the movie. It pretty much served as a wayfinder that allowed her to move from place to place and have a shot at the end battle. So I mentioned earlier that Li Shang was not in this movie. That is because he was split into 2 different characters. One was Commander Tung, played by Donnie Yen, who was much older than Mulan, and the other was Chen, who was pretty much an equal to Mulan.
Look how they massacred my boy.
The reason why Li Shang was removed, and I might get in trouble for saying this, but I like to keep it real on my channel, and I'm just the messenger at the end of the day, it was because of the Me Too movement. The character who was a young commanding officer who had to train a group of losers out of nepotism, and he had to live up to his father because he was the general of the Chinese army. We can't have him around Mulan because reasons. You have the rest of the game with Ling, Yao, and Chen Po, and they included another character named Cricket, which, you guessed it, is supposed to replace Cricky. They were fine, but whatever at the same time. They gave some funny lines. I also like this addition to the movie in that since Mulan did not have a Mushu, or Cricky, or her horse, as friends to talk to, she's a long way from home, and she had to be in a tent filled with guys, and I thought Liu Yafei did a great job in showing how terrified she was, trying not to expose herself. We get to the Make a Man Out of You scene. The animated version had an excellent montage, with a great song that was comparable to the montage in Rocky 2. In those two versions, the music made the training and the growth of the characters give much more of an impact. The movie had music, but it was very lackluster in comparison. There was no arrow on top of the pole thing in this one. It was carry 2 buckets of water at shoulder height all the way up a summit. We'll come back to that. Mulan and Shang number 2 are in a little sparring match with spears, and she gets frustrated with him, so she opens up her chi and shows how much of a skilled fighter she is. She literally back kicks a spear, then kicks it like Ronaldo. And no, this is not the last time I will mention it. She beats herself up as she tells herself she can't be opening up her chi like that. We'll come back to that. This world makes it clear that Mulan cannot possibly have learned how to sword fight or fight in general, as it is against custom. It is also not possible to train yourself without having a teacher, because technique is something that you can't work on your own. We're back to Square Ray again. She finally takes a swim in the lake because she stinks. Discount Shan Yu shows up on screen at 40 minutes. I literally forgot about him and the morons. Mulan is asked to see Shang number 1, and he believes she's not opening up her chi because of her father's legacy. So now, with Mulan opening up her chi, she's able to show her full combative skills and that she could lift the 2 buckets up the top of the summit. I know the film was trying to treat this moment like how Mulan got the arrow, as they played a little nod to Reflections. The problem is that Mulan was failing at everything she was doing, to the point where Li Shang pretty much told her to leave. However, through sheer determination and resourcefulness to wrap the weights around as support, she was able to persevere and get the arrow. Mulan here was just strong because she opened up her chi. It isn't earned at all. They get to the destroyed village, and it's almost like a blink you've missed it kind of scene. I had to rewatch, yes, I rewatched the movie for this, and it just comes up. The animated movie had the Girl Worth Fighting For song until there was a tonal shift to the destroyed village. They spent time looking for survivors, exploring more of the destroyed town, along with Shang's father's helmet. It brings back to the reality after all that training and spending time making bonds with friends, that this is during a time of war, and they have to go back to focusing on it. Because the morons and Discount Shan Yu are so underdeveloped and not really taken as a serious threat, I had a hard time buying that the war was really that serious. Another moment I liked is when Mulan was giving a pep talk to her friends about fear and how it is natural to feel it during war, while her hand is shaking in fear as well. These small moments, small additions to the film is what really takes away the potential of what this film could have been, because it all goes downhill from here.
Fuck.
Yeah.
The battle between the 5th Battalion and the morons is just meh. Discount Shan Yu and a small force breaks away from the fight, and as Mulan and her group chases them down until she is all alone, she is broken off by the witch. She asks for Mulan's identity, but she can detect the bullshit. She asks again, and with the same response, she throws a star into her chest. Every time the witch threw a star at someone, they died. However, the star hit a slab of wood, and we're not supposed to question why that would still not kill her because the wood seemed like it was as thin as cardboard.
そうか。
But you get the symbolism as she is the phoenix. Hua Jun is dead, now Hua Mulan is reborn. She strips her armor, yes, she actually strips her armor, and she opens her uncut hair, yes, she actually opened her hair, and yes, it was uncut, as Reflections is playing. So she openly reveals her identity during the battle, with no armor, but the power of chi as the plot armor, as she does a second bicycle kick on a spear on a moving horse to kill someone. She takes on a swarm of people easily until the witch scares the army into a defensive position, and the rest of the morons get their trebuchets ready. Mulan takes the high ground, so the morons did not see her go off, I suppose. She gets them to turn the trebuchet to the mountain and it flies, completely missing Mulan, as it should, and they cause the avalanche by accident.
Fuck off! Get out! Fucking out!
What a load of bullshit. Mulan creating the avalanche herself was another way to show her resourcefulness as it saves her friends. It also gives Mulan the highest body count as a Disney princess by a literal landslide. And that whole scene of her saving Li Shang's life is what allows him to say he owed her his life. Once she is wounded and the doctor reveals her identity, it is that reason why Shang does not take her life, as a way of owing her. Now, in the original ballad, Mulan doesn't reveal she is a woman until 12 years of service, and in retirement she chose to reveal herself in who she really was. The problem with Mulan in this movie, basically stripping her armor and having her chi give all the power, just for a girls can fight too moment, and she goes back to the group with no discernible injuries, or anything that would force them to learn the truth without her control, just shits on the moment altogether, as it goes completely out of character for both versions of Mulan. We learn that the witch and Mulan aren't so different after all, because it's always like that in these types of movies.
Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy.
She reveals that Discount Shan Yu took his squad straight to Imperial City, and she still asks her to join her like she would say yes. More of that phoenix symbolism is here to show that Mulan has came from dishonor, and she is reborn as she is given a purpose to carry on. She goes to Shang number 1 and tells him about the deception. Shang number 2 stands up for her and saying she was braver than every man in the army because of course he will. Same vibes as Captain Marvel when Nick Fury said something along those lines. You have everyone saying, I believe in Mulan, which reminded me of this scene.
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Spartacus.
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Spartacus.
Rest in peace, Kirk Douglas. Man lived till 103. So Shang number 1 asked Mulan to lead the army to Imperial City, still without armor and a helmet because she has to stand out from everyone, which I suppose it would bring continuity as in how she would get a new one after she stripped it away in the mountainside. And she does have plot chi armor as protection, so what am I saying? Discount Shan Yu takes the city and the witch convinces the emperor to step outside the castle as she is disguised as the chancellor. It turns out that the emperor killed Discount Shan Yu's father, so he's ready to kill him as well. They realize the old switcheroo too late, and the Emperor gets captured. Mulan and the 5th Battalion fights the rest of the morons. Some of the fighting in the movie is acceptable, but other moments were abysmal to watch. It's just we have seen better fighting in other movies like Shadow 2018 or Crouching Tiger. Sometimes the action would go normal, then slow, then fast, then normal again. Mulan finds the witch and tries to convince her to join her like Peter did to Harry in Spider-Man 3, and that's not the last mention of that movie. The witch tells Discount Shan Yu that not a girl, a woman has led the army to kill him. He fires an arrow at Mulan, but the witch takes the arrow like Harry did to Peter in Spider-Man 3. Why the fuck would you sacrifice yourself? Only out of respect that she was a woman that led an army? No emotion by Liu Yafei at all. And why would she? Because she barely knew her. Mulan and Discount Shan Yu fight until he kicks her father's sword into fire and it melts away. But that doesn't matter because with intelligence and some chi, she causes Discount Shan Yu to fall to the ground. He tries to fire an arrow at the Emperor, but he catches it. And the most ludicrous thing happens. Now you'll probably think I'm lying, but bear with me. He tosses the arrow into the air, and Mulan, once again, kicks the arrow with pinpoint accuracy into the heart of Discount Shan Yu. The Emperor tries to get Mulan to join his guard, but she chooses to retire. Shang number 2 tries to get Mulan, but she don't need no man, and she reconnects with her family. It was pretty decent, the conversation between her and her father. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but Sulun Han from Rush Hour did a really good job here. She receives a sword that says loyal, brave, true, and a new virtue, devotion to family. It was an okay ending, but I just enjoyed the animated version where she offers the Emperor's gifts to her father first under the tree, and he just pushes them to the side and embraces her instead. This movie had so much potential to be so much better. I understand taking the movie in a realistic approach. I really do. But if you include high chi abilities that you can run on walls, a witch, and a phoenix into the movie, then why is Mushu, a cricket, and the songs unrealistic? Liu Yafei had some good scenes, but she was bland for a decent amount of the screen time. That goes for some of the other actors as well. Donnie Yen was fine as Shang number 1, but he's literally half a character. As I mentioned before, some additions they made to the movie, like her conversation with her father, or the first night at camp, or talking to her friends about fear and courage, this actually made Mulan feel like a character, which is all I really want in a story about Mulan. But giving her a strong amount of chi, and she had to repress it in camp to make it seem like she was weak until she was allowed to bring it out, like a phoenix, is not relatable at all. The lesson just seems like it was, you can be the best if you have powers, and accept them, unlike the animated counterpart, that is, through training, hard work, and determination, with some resourcefulness, you can be just as valuable as everyone around you. It's not the worst movie I saw this year. That cake goes to Artemis Fowl, which is a different video for another day. I'm never going to understand why Disney feels like it is so wrong for you to make a female character that has her own quirks and flaws, and she is put in a situation that challenges her, and through hard work with some sacrifices, she can overcome them. You know, like Mulan. I know the hero's journey is overplayed, but there's a reason why it works. Mulan is just another film that solidifies my issue with Disney. They have a Mary Sue problem. The problem that people had with Rey, Captain Marvel, and now Mulan is the fact that they were perfect from the start, and they don't really grow because something inside them was holding them back from being perfect to goddesses. Disney wants to promote the strong female character, which is fine, but Disney focuses more on the first two words, and they leave out the character. Look, if you want to watch the movie, as long as you have Disney Plus, it will be available on December 4th, which will not have the additional $30. But honestly, don't bother after all this news. Just take my word for it. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of Mulan. Did you like it? Hate it? Felt mid about it? Let me know. If you like opinions and reviews on movies, comics, TV shows, and video games, like the video and subscribe to my channel, and click the bell for notifications for future videos. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Peace.